Hi, this is your application specialist, Mike Emmerich at FREY Municipal Software. Today, I will be demonstrating the new features, improvements, and refinements of the BUCS 22 release. This will be a wonderful opportunity to explore and learn how to get more value from your BUCS accounting system. I have a list of items to share with you in today's demonstration, so let's get started. The BUCS 22 release is loaded with new features, improvements, and refinements. These changes come from the annual survey and requests submitted throughout the year. Our goal when updating BUCS is to make the system faster, more efficient, and more pleasing to use. I am now going to go over the features found in BUCS 22. The first item is in Budget Planning, Revenue, and Expense Accounts. So let's go to Budget Planning and click on Expense Accounts. There's a new Validate Plan Distributions button here. And when you click on that, it will scan for all accounts and make sure every account that has a budget has its budget distributed to the first period of the next fiscal year. So in my case, it's going to be January, so I should be seeing the budget and period plan 01. Since I click this button, it looks like everything's allocated except these three accounts, probably because these three accounts, the budget is exactly the same as last year. So we assumed everything was okay. We just didn't go through this item and push the budget to period 1. So you can print this if you like. And if you click on print, you can click on print preview. See this listing of the account, the description, account type, and the plan amount. You can click on print, save the PDF, click on close, and let's fix our problem. So our first one is 1101-002-123, which is the overtime pay. So you can see the plan says it's $5,000, but it's not down here in period 1. So I can just click on change new plan 2, hit the enter key, and it'll push the $5,000 down there. Now if I click on next, you'll see the other accounts. The budget has been distributed. There's 2 more left. And see it stopped me on this one, which is office supplies. So I agree with the $6,000. Just have to hit the enter key here, pushing it in period 1, which is January, and click on next until I find my third one in my phone, which is this $900. Just hit the enter key there and then hit OK. Now if I click on validate plan distributions, the plan distribution validation has passed. All plan amounts are fully distributed. So I'm good to go. So I'm all ready to post the budget for January of next year when I'm ready. And on the revenue accounts, we don't budget for those at this point. So I get to leave that alone. So just click OK. OK on here and close back to the main menu. I just want to emphasize the Validate Plan Distributions button. The reason that was added was because when you're transferring your plan to the ledger, it's transferring everything in period 1 in my example because January is my fiscal year. When you're running your budget planning reports, it's printing and showing you the number that's up in here, change new plan 2. So if you didn't distribute it to period 01, it would never post to the general ledger expense accounts or the revenue accounts in the budget for the budget part. So when you ran your expense reports in January and your revenue reports in January, you wouldn't see anything in the budget planning for those accounts that were missing. So I had 3 accounts, overtime pay, office supplies, and cell phones, that had a problem. I went ahead and fixed it. But if I didn't and I transferred the plan to ledger, I'd be missing those $11,900 out of my budget. And it's usually typically hard to find a small amount like that, when you got 1,000 account line items. So anyway, that's why we added that feature in that button. The next item number 2, is budget planning, transfer plan to ledger. process will now be run prior to the transfer beginning to validate that all plan amounts have been distributed for the accounts being updated. If there are any plan amounts that are not fully distributed, a screen will be shown listing the accounts that need to have their plan amounts distributed. A report of those accounts can be printed. All plan amounts must be fully distributed for the accounts that fall within the designated ranges before the transfer can proceed. So to show you this, I did restore the data. So I'm going to just cancel out of here, close, and go to General Ledger, Budget Planning, Transfer Plan to Ledger. Click OK. It's going to send it to January 2023. So I'll go into batch file. And here's the 3 accounts that we didn't distribute the plan for. So we need to go back and correct these 3 accounts before we process the transfer plan to ledger. So close out of here, cancel, and then go back and fix those 3 accounts. The next item we want to go over is item number 3, report parameters. So to go there, we're going to click on General Ledger, report parameters. I'm going to click on active only, and let's look at the balance sheet. The report option screen has been made larger to accommodate the tree view that we added. And here's your tree view, which is going to let you click on each line instead of going into the screen itself. You're able to see the very first line. So for example, if I click on description, I'm seeing what's in the title, group, or total description over here on the left-hand side, which is the dashes. The next description is the word assets, which is title, group, or total description is the assets. So that's over here, and then the line underneath it. If we go into a parameter type that's asset, you'll get to see the starting and ending account ranges. And if you click on a detail item, you're going to see the title, group, or total description over here on the left-hand side of the tree view. So basically, it's just giving you a quick index of what you're looking at. And if you need to change anything, you'll be able to click on this, click on Edit, and then change anything that you might need to on this screen. Click OK, and it comes back to the screen. So when you're done with your changes, you'll click on Save, hit OK. Do you want to replace the parameters? Yes. Cancel out of here, and then click on Close. The next thing we edit in report parameters is the ability to create, insert, and delete report snips. And when you create a report snip, it'll let you create up to 50 lines and save that into memory, then load that into existing reports. So hopefully this will help you create reports by sections, like by departments and stuff, just to make it a little bit faster for you. So let me try to show you that from beginning to end. So I'm going to go to General Ledger, Report Parameters, and I'm going to load an existing report, which is the expense, general, and MVH funds. Click on Load. You see the report type is set to expense. So when I create a snip with this button, Insert Snip, it will be tied to an expense report. If you do it within a trial balance and make a snip, it'll be within the trial balance reports only. Same way with revenue and balance sheets and all the other categories that we got. So I'm going to click on Insert Snip. I'm sorry, I meant to say Create Snip. And click on lines 21, 22, 23, 30, and 40. So that's going to get me right after the title, and it's going to be the line above General Fund, underneath the General Fund, the account ranges, and then the total. So I'm going to click OK. This is the names required, so I'm going to put expense section. Hit OK to save that snip. and then I'm going to cancel out of here. So there's a report that I started. It was called Expense Mike. So I'm going to click on Load. And the only thing I got in this is the expense report for Mike. So I'm going to click on Insert SNP. And there's our expense section. And it's saying, do you want to add these lines before or after the title? So I'm going to say after the title. So there's that section. Line above, General Fund. Line below, the account ranges, General Fund. Okay. So level 3, space 2. So now I want to do the water fund, the sewage fund, and the storm fund as an example. So I'm going to insert the SNP again, do it after, click OK. And there's my next section, and I'll just have to relabel these a little bit. So that should be for the water fund. I'm going to insert the SNP again, after. It pops in those 5 lines and does the sequence by 10. And if you insert in between lines, they'll resequence everything by 10. So that's a good thing. And here's my final SNP. Inserting after. Now I just got to go back here and fix these. So the next fund I want to do is 6101, which is the water fund. And then just click on next. And then just change this to 6101 to 6101. Click on next. Change the title. Water fund. Click on next. So now I'm in sequence line 30. So now we're doing the sewage fund. And that's 6201. And click on next. And change this title to sewage fund. So it makes it a little bit easier. And the next one's going to be my storm sewer fund. And change that to fund 6501. And edit this. And then if you want a grand total of all these funds, just do an add, put in sequence 220. So it's going to be an insert actually. Grand total, I usually do a level of 9. Click OK. Cancel. So basically you got your title, expense report for Mike. We're showing a line, general fund, line underneath it, fund 1101, total general fund. Going to the next section, so you got your line going across, water fund, line underneath, there's the water fund account 6101 with the @ signs going to group in everything. So we got the total water fund, then we got the sewage fund, 6201 is sewage, got the total for that. Then we got our line, storm sewer fund, line underneath. And then it looks like I made a mistake on this one. This is 6501. So you do 6501. Click on next. Storm sewer fund, level of 3 to get my total. And the grand total is 9. So on this tree view, you can basically see everything and kind of verify that everything looks good before you save it, so you don't have to go through each of these screens. Once you're happy with it, you click on save and then click OK. And that's how you create a SNP, and that's how you insert a SNP. Item number 4, Journal Entry Transaction Report. There is a new page break between transactions options that, when checked, will start each journal entry transaction on a new page. So I'm going to show it to you without the page break, then I'll turn it on and show you with the page break. So we're going to go to General Ledger, Posting, Analysis, Journal Entry Transaction Report. I'm going to turn on Return to this option screen after the report's finished. Or let's look at all February journal entries. And here's the new option, Page Break Between Transactions. I'm going to leave that off for right now. Click OK, then Preview. Takes a few seconds to show it in the preview. So see, here's all your journal entries, and they're kind of bunched together per se. Looks clean, but it's all on 2 pages, but they're all together. So if we want them separated by page for each journal entry that we did, we can click on Close and click on Page Break Between Transactions, click OK, then Preview. And I believe this will give us 9 or 10 pages, the 9 or 10 journal entries that were done. So see how this is cleaned? You just see the 2 entries for the donation. Then if I click on next, it goes to the next journal entry, page 3, page 4, page 5. So it's kind of easy to look through all this. And then over here, you got your preview of the entries, and actually it was 11 pages. So basically that's the difference of the page breaks. Okay, let's close out of here. Go back to the main menu. Item number 5, Auto Reverse Journal Entries. An option has been added to the General Ledger tab in System Controls that allows the user to control if the entries that are created during the auto reverse are debits and credits, or debit reversals and credit reversals. If you want to change it, you go to General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, General Ledger tab, down here at the bottom. The default's checked where we do the reversals with debit and credit reversals. You can change it to do the reversals with debits and credits if you like. Okay. Go back to the main menu. Let's show you the next option. On to item number 6, batch posting. When printing the batch report in batch posting, an options window is now displayed that includes ranges for the month and year, posting date, program, initials, and account number. There is also the ability to assign a report date and subtitle. So if I click over on the General Ledger, go to batch posting, click on print. Here's the new options window where we'll let you print by month and year, by posting date range, program range, initials range, the account number range, and if you want to put a report date or subtitle on here. All right, let's go to the next option. Item number 7, encumbrance maintenance, archived encumbrance maintenance. There's now the ability to set the sort order of the sequences of encumbrances to be in ascending order or descending order. There is a new button next to the sequence field that, when clicked, will switch the grid from ascending A to Z to descending Z to A order. There is also the ability to set a preference for this order. Also, when printing the encumbrance report, there is now the ability to enter a due date range. So if we click on payables, go to encumbrance maintenance, here's the sequence, and then to the right of that, you can go from A to Z, click on it, and it'll go from Z to A. So you're seeing the most recent entered purchase order. If you want to go back to the way it was, click on the button again, and it's the oldest to the newest. The next option, if we click on print encumbrance report, we added a due date range. So if you want to see everything in March, just do 0301 to 0331, and you'd be able to see everything in March. And the final thing, if you go to preferences and you go to encumbrance processing, you're able to set your order A to Z or Z to A. So if you want to see the most recent first, click on Z to A, leave it like that, and then just click OK. Item number 8, purchase orders and archived purchase orders has the same sequence button added. So if we click on payables, purchase orders, there's your sequence A to Z or Z to A. And if you click on close, go to preferences, payables, purchase orders, you're also able to set that sort order right here. Item number 9, purchase order form email. An option has been added to the purchase order email information window in Systems Controls to set the email to high importance. Since the emails were already being sent with high importance, this option will be turned on during the conversion. If the user does not want the purchase orders to be sent with high importance, they just need to turn the option off and the emails will be sent with normal importance. So we're going to go to General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, AP tab, go down here to the bottom where it says Purchase Order Format. Toward the bottom right hand side, there's a Purchase Order Email Information button. Click on that, and it's already set to high importance. You can click to turn it off, and then it'll be sent with normal importance. You just click on back, then OK to save that setting. No, I don't want to change Crystal Reports, and it's a done deal. The next item is number 10, vendor labels. When manually selecting labels to print, there is now a number of labels selected at the bottom of the select screen. This is a count of the total number of labels that will print. So if we go to Payables, Vendor Maintenance, click on Print, Labels. Let's say I just want my permanent vendors and active vendors. Then here's the manually select labels to print. You click OK. It gives you a list of everything that it's going to print. So that's all of our active vendors, and there's 4,917. If I only want to print 3 or 4 of them, I can say select none, and then just pick the 3 or 4 vendors I might want to print a label for. So I got the 3 labels, and I can click OK. But basically, we're just giving you a count of the labels that are going to be used, so you know how many sheets of labels to put in there. Let's move on to number 11, invoice processing. There are a couple of changes that have been made to invoice processing. They are as follows. A new prepaid e-pay date field has been added to invoice processing. This new field is available when adding or editing an invoice that is for a prepaid check or electronic payment. This new date is what the system will use as the check date or electronic payment when the invoice is updated. For prepaid checks, the program was using the check date that was entered during the check register as the check date for the invoice. This allows for the check date to be entered at invoice entry time, and it will use the date during the check register and check update regardless of the date entered on the check register screen. For electronic payments, the invoice program was changing the due date field to e-pay date, and the system was using this date for both the due date of the invoice and electronic payment date of the invoice. Now, the heading of the due date field will no longer change, and the new prepaid e-pay date field will become enabled. The electronic payments program will now use this date as electronic payment date during the update process. Any electronic payment invoices that are in the system during the install of BUCS 22 will have the date and the due date field copied into the new prepaid e-pay date field. To accommodate this field on the invoice report, a new line will now be printed under the second line of the report. The line will contain the project number, department, if department module is available, prepaid/e-pay date, and remit to number. So if we go to invoice maintenance and we view an invoice, here's the field prepaid/e-pay date. On the invoice maintenance screen, there are new pay methods filters. You got a filter for check, ACH, electronic payments. I'm going to turn them all off. Here's your invoices that will be paid via check. Here's ones that will be paid via ACH. Pay method ACH, and then here's the ones that will be paid with an electronic payment. The next new feature is in the Selectively Release Invoices program. So when you go over here to Release, Selectively Release, when you're highlighting items to release that are marked as the status of entered, they will now highlight in blue. So the whole row will show in blue, so it kind of shows you you're releasing something for like $123. On this one, we're releasing something for $93,524. So those items will light up in blue. Now, if you got items that are already released and you unrelease them, they'll be in a cayenne color. So if I turn this one off, see how it shows up in cayenne and the check mark is unchecked. All right. Let's move this or remove this one, and that's in cayenne. So it just makes it easier for you to see what's going on and what you're checking and unchecking. The next item is number 12, registers. There is now the ability to send the check register, ACH register, and electronic payment register to Excel. When the new Excel option is selected, the funds availability report will also be sent to Excel. This new option is only available to users who have the data dictionary module and have Excel installed on their computer. There's also the ability to enter a report date or subtitle on the registers. So to show you that, I'm going to click on OK here, close, and let's do the check register. And I'll just put in the date of 4/15. And here's the report date or subtitle if you need that, and then send it to the Excel. So everything's on Excel now. And then this is your funds availability report. And then here's the first tab of cash accounts that were used. And then here's your check register, followed by the run totals. 12 invoices for $106,520. And then bank activity by fund. So there's your fund descriptions, the cash account number used, and the dollar amount paid out. When I exit out of here, I'll be presented with the funds availability report, which is number 13 on our list. And the new screen now shows the details of what is causing the error. The grid shows any expenditure errors at the top, and at the bottom is any of the cash errors. The information in the grids is the same error information that shows on the report. Also, the heading text on the funds availability report has been modified for some of the information to make it clear to understand. So here at the top, you can see the account numbers that went over budget, the description, the vendor number, vendor name, the invoice description, invoice number, the expense, the remaining balance. So we're going over budget and shows by how much. Was it encumbered? Yes, yes, and yes on these three. And all of these are over budget. And then down here, the cash account on Fund 4438 had a beginning balance of $98.7132, dispersed $10,000. So it has a negative ending balance of $128.68. So it just makes it more clear what could be going wrong and for you to make any corrections if needed. The next item on our list is number 14, electronic payments. When processing electronic payments, there is now the option to enter the electronic payment number range on the screen. This new option allows the users to update specific electronic payments instead of all the payments. So if I go into the electronic payment screen, I now have the electronic payment number range, and if I want to update 4081 to 4089, that's how I would do it, and then just click OK or send it to Excel. The next item on our list is in the paid invoices. So payables, paid invoices, view. This is number 15 on our list. When viewing a paid invoice and paid invoice view, for users who have the fixed assets module, there is a new fixed assets button that when pressed gives the user the ability to add a fixed asset or access fixed assets maintenance. When adding a fixed asset, the application information from the paid invoice will be carried over to the asset. This works the same way that the fixed asset button works in invoice processing. So let's click on View. Let's key in 0301 to 0430. Click OK. So on any of these, if there's large dollar amounts, we could add a fixed asset if we wanted to. So helmet and shields, view the paid invoice. Now you're able to click on fixed assets and add the fixed asset to this, or go to fixed asset maintenance. So if you clicked on add, it brings over all the information from the paid invoice. Then you add the fixed asset number, the class, department, type, location, etc. Just fill that in and then click on OK. Item number 16 is in the check reconciliation program. There have been a couple of changes to check reconciliation. They are as follows. When marking a check as unclaimed, a window will now be displayed for the user to enter an unclaimed comment. Previously, the only way to enter an unclaimed comment was to right-click on the grid and select the unclaimed comment menu. So to show you this, we're going to go into Payables, Check Reconciliation. I'm going to click on Select None, then click on Checks, change the sort order to transaction number, and I'm going to go to the very top and show you the oldest check number. And here's one from January 24, 2020. So it's over 2 years old. So I'm going to click on Unclaimed, put in the comment, check over 2 years old. So we're moving it to Unclaimed. And then just click on OK. The next change is when viewing the deposit information detail, the grid now contains the detailed description. The new column is at the end of the grid. To show you that, I'm going to turn off the checks and go to deposits, show the outstanding deposit, Go right click on it, deposit information, and I got to slide this grid over to the last column, and your last column says detailed description, and there's cubic interface 3215. So that's the new column. And that's the end of the changes into the check reconciliation. So I'm going to click on cancel, click OK, and it's taken us back to the main menu. The next item is number 17, and it's regarding fixed assets. And there's a new option we added into the system controls under the fixed asset tab. So let's go there. General ledger, system controls, edit, fixed assets. The new field is down here at the bottom. Show reminder to add fixed asset when invoice amount exceeds. So if you have a policy of adding a fixed asset every time it exceeds $5,000, go ahead and put $5,000 in here, or whatever amount it might be for you. Then every time you add an invoice, load an invoice, selectively load invoices, if it exceeds $5,000, you'll be prompted to go ahead and add that into the system. So let's click OK. I don't want to add a crystal report directory. And then cancel. And then if I go to invoice maintenance and I click on add, say it's all hands fire equipment. Fire retardant sprayer. And let's just say it's $24,000. Over budget. That's okay. I'm going to hit complete. So this is $24,000. When I click on OK, here comes our little pop-up window. It says add fixed asset reminder. The invoice amount exceeds the added fixed asset reminder amount. Do you want to add the fixed asset now? So I'm going to click on yes. Takes you to the fixed asset maintenance screen. You can key in your own ID number or let the system generate the ID number for you by clicking on these three dots, and go ahead and fill in the rest of the information here, such as the class, department, type, and location. Number 18, fixed asset labels. When manually selecting labels to print, there is now a number of labels selected at the bottom of the select screen. This is a count of the total number of labels that will print. So we're in fixed assets, click on print, click on labels, fill in your ranges that you want. When you click on manually select labels to print, click OK. Sort order is by ID number. Anytown, USA, enter their property name. Down here at the very bottom it says number of labels selected. So we got 577 labels selected. So if you don't want to print some of the labels, you can easily turn some of them off, or click on select none and then select the ones that you want to print. And then down here it will give you the count. So that's what was added for the fixed asset labels. Cancel out of here, go back to the main menu. Item 19, fee receipts posting. An option has been added to retain the record ID when posting a fee receipt in the fee receipts posting. When this option is selected, the record ID field will retain its value, so the same record ID can be used for the next fee receipt that is to be posted. So let's show an example of this. If I go to receivables, fee receipt posting, my record ID will be ambulance. I'm going to click on retain record ID because I got a few of these to process. Move this to miscellaneous. Person is Susan Smith. Paid $100. and click OK. So ambulance stayed there because the retained record ID was checked. So all I have to do is hit the enter key, go to the next person, and it's Mike Turner, paid $100, check number, click OK. So it'll retain this record ID until you turn that off. That was added to the fee receipt posting program. And let's move on to number 20. Fee receipts. Changes have been made throughout the system to now have the fee receipt transaction name appear in the vendor name field on the reports and screens. The changes include the following locations: chart of accounts posting screens, future period trial balance report, posting analysis edit description screen, posting analysis print report, posting analysis view screen, posting journal purge archive report, and the project screen. So the name field right here is going to be pushed into those reports I just mentioned. To show you this, let's go to the chart of accounts postings tab and show you those names. So cancel out of here. Yes, it printed correctly. General ledger, chart of accounts, 2243.456, ambulance run revenue. Click on view. Let's go to postings. There's our ambulance revenue postings here for the $100. If I scroll a little bit to the right, you now see Mike Turner. Sorry about that. Mike Turner up here, and Susan Smith, and then Mike Emmerich. So it's pulling that information over to make it easier for you to see what's going on in the chart of accounts, along with those other reports. Cancel out of here, and then hit close. The next item is 21, fee receipt client labels. When manually selecting labels to print, there is now a number of labels selected at the bottom of the select screen. This is a count of the total number of labels that will print. So to show you this, we're going to go to receivables, fee receipts, clients, labels, manually select labels to print, hit OK, and there's our new counter. Number of labels selected, 160. Okay. Cancel out of that. Let's move on to number 22, AR customer labels. When manually selecting labels to print, there is now a number of labels selected at the bottom of the select screen. This is a count of the total number of labels that will print. Receivables, customers, labels. Click on manually select labels to print. OK, and there's our counter. Number of labels selected is 4. All right, let's cancel out of there. Go back to the main menu. 23, AR invoice email. An option has been added to the AR invoice email information window in System Controls to set the email to high importance. Since the emails were already being sent with high importance, this option will be turned on during the conversion. If you do not want the AR invoice emails to be sent with high importance, you just need to turn the option off and the emails will be sent with normal importance. Let me show you this. You can go to General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, go up here to the AR tab. Down here toward the bottom right, click on the invoice format. Click on New Statement Format. Go over here to the right, Invoice Email Information, and see where it's set to high importance. If you want it normal, just turn that off. Click on Back. Back. Okay. We don't want to set anything for Crystal Report. Leave it alone. And go back to the main menu. The next item is number 24, source documents. When viewing the source document for transactions, when the print source document option is available, there is a new source document to Excel button. This new button is only available to users who have the data dictionary module and have Excel installed on their computer. When the source document to Excel option is selected, the source document will be sent to Excel. To show you that, let's go to General Ledger, Chart of Accounts. We're going to view the checking account information for the general fund. Click on the Postings tab. And I want to look at the source document for journal entries. So I'm going to go down here to the program number range, hit search, click on the journal entry program. Ending on the journal entry program, hit refresh postings. I'm going to go down here to August 2021 to see how I usually do transfer for interest. So I'm going to click on source document. Here's all the journal entries I typically do. And here's your new button, source document to Excel. So when you click on that, it shoots all these entries to Excel. And here's your worksheet in Excel. So you can do anything you want with it once it's in Excel. All right, let's cancel back out of that, go back to the main menu. Moving on to number 25, System. A new option has been added to System Controls on the Preferences tab. When adding line items on transactions in edit mode, when the OK button is pressed, continue and add until complete is pressed. When this new option is checked, when editing an item, for example an invoice, when the add button is pressed, the program will continue in add mode until the complete button is pressed. This will work the same way the program works when adding a transaction in the invoice program, when adding general ledger line items in the invoice program. The new checkbox affects the following programs: standard journal entry, invoice processing, standard invoice processing, purchase orders, encumbrances, standard encumbrances, cash receipts, standard cash receipts, fee receipts, and standard fee receipts. To turn this feature on, we need to go to System Controls. So you go to General Ledger, System Controls, Edit, Preferences tab, go down here toward the bottom, click on this. When adding line items on transactions in edit mode, when the OK button is pressed, continue and add until complete is pressed. Basically what that means is if you go in invoice entry, you have an invoice already in there, you click on edit, you click on this add button here, this floating window will stay on, so you'll be able to put in an account number and an amount, and when you click OK, this window will stay online and let you add another account number and an amount, and just keep on going forward until you hit the complete button. When you hit complete, the window will close, and then you can hit OK to post everything. But some people were telling me that when they were clicking on the add button down here, every time they added a line item, this window would close automatically. They wanted it to stay on until they were doing all their allocations. It mainly came into effect when they were doing payroll entries and stuff like that. All right, let's complete this, cancel out, and go back to the main menu. The next item is item number 26, Out of Balance Run Totals Archive. This new Out of Balance Run Totals Archive menu option on the Utility submenu of the File menu. When an out of balance condition occurs on the run totals, those run totals will now be archived in the Out of Balance Run Totals Archive. Those out of balance run totals can then be referenced and reprinted from the Out of Balance Run Totals Archive at any time. Only run totals that are out of balance after installing BUCS 22 will appear in the new Out of Balance Run Totals Archive. So there it is, File Utilities, Out of Balance Run Totals Archive. Click OK. And since I loaded BUCS 22, I've never hit any of those conditions, so there's nothing in there. Cancel. Back to the main menu. Let's move on to item number 27, Open Checkbook. After the Open Checkbook file is generated, a copy of the checkbook.csv file will be put into the Open Checkbook directory with a file name called checkbook in the format of $.csv. The year, month, day is the current date, and the $.$ is the sequence number used for multiple instances of the same date. So if you run the program twice, you'll have the checkbook 2022-08-1701.csv and checkbook 2022-08-1702.csv. So we're talking about this program here. General Ledger, OpenGov exports, Open Checkbook export. So if you ran it twice, ran it once for maybe this date, then you run it again for another date, here's what you'll get. So there's your checkbook, year 2022, August 17th, first time I ran it. I ran it again a couple minutes later, checkbook 2022-08-1702. So it's just, instead of overwriting the file each time, we're just adding a sequence to it. Okay, let's go back to the main menu. The last thing we added is item number 28, log file analysis. The return to the option screen after report finishes printing option has been added to this screen. When this box is checked, the program will return to the option screen after the report finishes processing. So that's right here in File, Utilities, Log File Analysis. Check this option. When you run it for particular items and dates, when it's finished, it'll come back to the screen. I'll let you change things again. So that'll finish it for all the items in the BUCS 22 update. We at FREY Municipal Software would like to thank everyone who responded to the BUCS survey, and would like to thank everyone that was involved into the BUCS 22 beta testing. The ideas and suggestions that we've received from our users is the driving force behind the changes that are implemented into BUCS. I hope you enjoy all the enhancements added to the BUCS 22 release. This concludes the presentation. Please share this presentation with others in your office that use the BUCS software.